Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, I'm going to go through some of the community reaction to the news about HYDRA. I want to get a feel of what's the general vibe. I want to give my counter view against what that is and maybe come up with some different suggestions if there's some really cool, interesting ideas in that community feedback that I've seen from my video yesterday. The HYDRA changes were always going to be like a contentious issue because we knew it probably meant nerfing some OP stuff. And they also said it was a complicated situation. Therefore, they're going to make actual HYDRA changes as well. Have they gone too far is the question we're going to try and answer today. Just quickly before we do, Broodguard, if you're doing the fusion, there will be an opportunity to earn souls. This is always big if you are doing a fusion. I'm having a break. I think quite a lot of people are having a break on this one, but if you're doing the fusion, it's less impactful for a support type champ to have crazy big souls, but still it's really impactful to have a big soul on anyone that you're doing the fusions for. So, or any champ that you pick up, honestly. This could end up being pretty good for you if you're doing it. Let's have a quick look at the event before we jump into that feedback, just to see. Oh, it's coming tomorrow anyway. It's tomorrow anyway, but perhaps I'll check it out tomorrow when that comes around. For those who don't know, I love Marvel. I've got an amazing sponsor here. Marvel Strike Force is a squad-based RPG where you can play as the Marvel heroes or villains up against some iconic bosses. So now's a great time to get involved. If you use my link down below or the QR code, you will get yourself a free Agatha Harkness from the new series Agatha All Along. Great new Marvel character. And in October, they're also dropping some big hitters like Blade and his Night Stalkers. So I've just started getting involved with this. You can get yourself up to 17 free heroes in the first month of playing if you're just active in the game. They've got heroes like Wolverine, Deadpool, Spider-Man, all of the Marvel kind of heroes and villains that you would expect to see. And they look absolutely sweet. New ways to play are constantly evolving. They've got campaign, they've got blitz, they've got arena. There's actually Alliance War already in Marvel Strike Force as well. Tons of ways to utilize your roster strategically with metas changing all the time. And talking about metas, one of the things which I've seen so far, which is probably most enjoyable to me, is you've got these synergies, these team comps that make a lot of sense. So X-Men coming together, Avengers coming together, those groups, those squads, which basically synergize to give you additional abilities in combat. So now's a great time to get involved. Don't forget, you can download right now, use my link down below or the QR code. If you use the promo code Halloween, you will get yourself 100 shards towards Zombie Iron Man. You get yourself 600,000 gold, and you'll get yourself a juicy amount of training modules as well. Thank you again, Marvel Strike Force, for sponsoring the video. Let's get back to it. Okay, then, let's get into some of this feedback. So yesterday I did this video. The nerfs are in. Trunda, Wixwell, Yannicka, and Emic all dead was my opinion. I think Trunda being dead is probably a bit of a harsh comment, but definitely weakened severely. But Wixwell, Yannicka, and Emic, as far as I can see, are going to be dead for HYDRA. Wixwell apparently still going to be solid for Clan Boss. I will get some test server access. I will test that stuff as soon as I'm allowed to. So I guess I'll probably re-go over some of my old Wixwell teams and see if they still work. Anyway, let's get into this then. So I thought it was funny as well. This is, by the by, I did this kind of like plug to Godforge yesterday, which is the Fateless game. And someone said, here we go, Toxics, I love how you're taking this opportunity to promote Godforge. You got to do it, right? You got to do it. It was the right time. Okay, so stuff about Minotaur, fine. Right, so Daniel Underwood here, a regular poster, and massively like up thumbed on this one. Don't worry, there's good news. We made HYDRA harder for everyone in every way. How is that good news? Fair comment. So the nerf stuff is almost like one section here, but the HYDRA stuff is another section. And one of the things I was thinking when I read this was, you know what? The entry to HYDRA normal, is already tough enough for new players. There should be scaling for bosses. And we see it with other bosses. We see the Fire Knight Shield scale up over time. The mechanics for HYDRA should scale. And the things that they've implemented, I think, are great things for like brutal and nightmare. So because ultimately you shouldn't really be able to run nightmare Hydra to 1500 turns. That was never the scope of the game. So imagine if they did not add like the Serpent's Will change to normal. They did not add the extra damage required to, once you've been eaten, to normal. Those type of things. But they put a cap on the points that you could earn from normal for Hydra Clash. Or potentially Hydra Clash. Yeah, no, I think that's probably the way it goes. At some sort of cap so that you didn't get these kind of like the default to a Trunda style team hitting normal to earn you more points than hitting like hard. I think that could be a good solution so that the people that need the higher challenge get the higher challenge with these new mechanics, but it doesn't filter all the way down to the new player that can't actually yet get basic stuff from Hydra. I think that's actually a good call out. This is a huge change for us trying to grow our Hydra team. Similar sort of idea here from Dunkirk. They've also negated 2 recent fusions with Packmaster and Emic. So basically what they're saying here is because Taunt is now useless, they've basically said 2 fusions that we've worked hard on are now completely useless. Sure, they made some good nerfs, but they also made it impossible for us mid-game going into late game to try and climb up Hydra. I think that's fair. I actually hate the change to Taunt. I do. I think it's a stupid change. Yeah, don't like it at all. Just remember that none of this was an issue until they introduced Hydra Clash. They did the same thing for Clan Boss. It used to be fun to see how much damage you could do. Then they nerfed big teams and it became no fun at all. So yeah, I mean, Hydra Clash, you have to, Mike, so I agree none of this was an issue until Hydra Clash. Also, I would say Hydra was dead content pretty much until Hydra Clash. So I do have to just push back a bit and say a lot of people now are more engaged in this game mode because there's a competitive element. But the issues are it's nowhere near balanced as an element. But yeah, I actually think it's bred new life into this game mode, but and therefore they have to make some adjustments if they want it to have some sort of semblance of balance. But it feels like they've gone too far with the Hydra buffs to me. Climate of Mind said, PLARIUM could be handed the answers and the perfect improvement for anything and still do the opposite. I wonder, though, what you think the perfect improvement is. That's what I'd love to know on some of these. Danny Boy, we want you to build a complex teams for Hydra. Also, we're nerfing Taunt. Yeah, so we like the idea of you building teams that have this complexity and use our mechanics. Oh, by the way, we're going to take some of those away. Taunt killed it for me. It seems like a lot of people are really upset with the Taunt change, which I totally agree with, by the way. I swear PLARIUM reads all our feedback and literally does the opposite. They looked at Hydra and went, you know what? Not only are we going to nerf champions that people use for these and get the rewards, but let's make it 10 times harder. Definitely. And how tone deaf does a company have to be? It's like they want people to quit. I've seen quite a few posts about people saying, I'm going to quit, which is... we'll see, I guess. We'll see. But still, that's a challenging time for Raid. Raid do not want people to quit. Let's be clear. Raid want players. They want more players. This one here has got 530 up thumbs, which is huge, actually. So 90% of players get screwed because 9% were mad that 1% could easily do a few billion more than them. Seems fair, PLARIUM. I think the numbers are pretty far out. I would say... I don't know if 9% were mad. It's got a lot of up thumbs, so I guess people feel like this is a real statement. I would say that, I mean, maybe it's fair. Maybe it's a fair statement. Maybe it was a minority of people didn't like it that some players could do like a crazy hit. I think there's a lot more than 1% that could do these crazy hits, so I think it's much higher than that. I would say, but still, you're right. So that the sentiment here is, newer players, mid-game players have got screwed because the end-game players didn't enjoy the competitive element. Okay, so that I agree with. Like, new players shouldn't be screwed. Maybe there should be a whole section of Hydra Clash where it's just, anyone who's played for less than half a year or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know how you gauge it, because time in game is not relevant to power in game, and that's where this kind of like disparity comes from. But I do think that either early Hydra should not have been hit anywhere near as severely, or they should bracket different tiers of player somehow. But interesting comment. Good job, Plarium. You managed to slightly reduce the numbers to the top end. Yeah, same sort of idea here. This nerf is the best thing Plarium can do to help our Fateless. Okay. I wonder, though, if... Like, I have seen comments in my Discord with people saying the nerfs are actually good. The nerf to Trunda, or the change to Trunda, is actually good because she was busted. I'm not seeing much of that here on my video, but I have seen people say that. Thankfully, they do so much testing. There's no way these buffs will just end up killing all the early game Hydra players. So again, push towards early game. People are upset. Shouldn't have made decapitated head changes and 100% damage block. There is no point in toppling the head anymore. People say to that. So when the head does get killed, it does take triple damage as far as I'm aware. Triple. So there is still a lot of point in popping a head. But obviously they come back a lot quicker now. They come back quicker and they come back with 100% reduced damage. So yeah. So Brennan here saying the crazy part is all they had to do was just adjust the points awarded for damage. Agreed. What's the words? Reduced, like the mitigation curve, you know? Like points mitigation. So basically, the higher damage you do, the less additional points you gain. So for the first million, you still get the same sort of points that you got before. The second million, you got like 90% of the points you got before. The third million, 80%. So that it still makes it worthwhile to go high, but you don't get anywhere near the additional benefit for going like crazy high. You still win, but you don't win by so much it completely blows out the competition. I think this should have been part of the adjustment for sure. I think this is a great comment, Brennan. For sure, this should have been part of the adjustment. So the early game players still get exactly the same scores for those early levels of hits. I really like this, actually. I think this is a great suggestion. So for me, two call outs so far. This type of mitigation of points and early game Hydra revert back to base level, but cap points at a certain point. I don't know how many times I said points in that or point in that sentence, but do you know what I mean? It's like, let's give earlier players still the incentive to go on Hydra and try and get some rewards. Freya, Deck of Fate, and now this. They just continue to piss off players. Good job, Plarium, digging your own grave. What do people say to this? Swamby, I'm very happy with these changes. Talk for yourself. People will be pissed, but they will still play and spend just to get shiny new things. Okay. So again, mixed bag a little bit, but definitely the sentiment towards the Freya Deck of Fate was just a slap in the face. I totally agree with that. And I've even seen it. Like I did a Freya video yesterday. Way less views than you would expect for a guaranteed legendary. Because so few people in the end could pick it up. Or maybe because my video was trash. But anyway. I don't run any of these cheese teams, but the Hydra changes are still going to tank my damage. They've overcooked this as usual. Yeah. And they said they're going to monitor it. I wonder if they monitor it like today before it goes live, because it's going live, I think, next week. So they've still got time to tweak stuff. I really hope, if you're watching this, I hope you are watching this, tweak normal for sure. Tweak reverse changes for normal for sure. And just cap the points you can earn from normal. I couldn't care less about shield or Trunda nerfs. I'm not a whale. That doesn't just affect whales, by the way, Oddred. Like, the shield team, it was actually a very non-whale friendly team. Like, really, really friendly team. My Yannicka team, my Yannicka's got no masteries. She's in a basic build. Like, the shield team was not a whale team at all. Trunda team, you could argue is a whale team. But I bet there's tons of non-whales that have got a Trunda team. So, this kind of like whale free-to-play narrative, I think, is actually a bit stupid. The Trunda high-end one, where she's doing like billions, fine. That's whales and krakens, but not for everyone. Anyway, this part here. But the Hydra buffs, I feel like are gonna be rough to deal with. Agreed. Yeah, gone a bit far on that. I don't mind it. I feel like the Hydra buffs for Nightmare. I don't know. Is it fair? I do think Hydra has changed from it's hard to get high scores to we're just smacking heads. Certainly on like Nightmare for endgame players. So I think there did need to be something changed on Hydra mechanics for the higher end Hydra. But like people are saying, I think they've overcooked it. I love that not even a week ago they announced the VIP club. Didn't get in. No invite for me. By the way, I saw someone on Facebook was basically like, I'm totally free to play. I am an active player. Got invited to the club. I also know someone who has spent over $1 million in the game who was not invited to the club. So I don't know what they're using for their algorithms, but it's not exactly what I thought it was going to be. Mainly whales, I'm sure, but yeah, it's not exactly what I thought it'd be. This one here, Harry Toeface. I'm interested to see what these other replies are. Not only are they stripping away 500 turns, which is bad for people who need those turns to get their damage up, but they're making Hydra even harder. I personally think the 500 turns is great. I think it's a great change. I don't know. Of course, you're going to get less damage if you could run an infinite team. Infinite teams are going to be, like, if you can build an infinite team, how are you not getting your damage up? Like, if you're doing 1,500 turns, bearing in mind, shield teams have now disappeared, taunt teams have disappeared. If you can last 1,500 turns, you should have the damage, in my opinion. Like, that seems nuts to me. I like 500 turns less, mainly because of the time it takes to run that game mode if you're going long. I think they're just talking BS, trying to say if you need more than one key, so be it. Doesn't make sense to me. Stop complaining just to complain. If you're directing this comment, okay, it's a bit of a back and forth rather than plenty of comments. But I disagree with that. I think 500 turns less actually is just better. Emic and Packmaster now useless. So in all of these comments so far, I'm struggling to see anyone who's like, this is good. Which is normal, by the way. Most people that are mad will be the people that actually comment a lot. But generally you get a bit of a mix. There's not much mix going on here. This is going to kill early game and mid game players. As a low spender, if I lost my only team capable of doing Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss and all the time investment I put in, I'll definitely reconsider to play this game. From Architect here. 20 likes on that. The fact they did not nerf Yumiko is wild. Catering to the whales, but make it harder for everyone who isn't a whale. I do agree with that. I think if you're going to nerf some of those champions, the only... people will hate me for this, but the only thing they should do with Yumiko is she can't reset herself. If Yumiko could not reset herself, I think that would be a healthy change for the game. Yeah, look, generally very, very, like, strongly negative feedback. Strongly negative feedback, which is, you would expect. People are always going to be upset, but I think even the more reasonable-minded are pretty upset with this. This is absolutely ridiculous. They should have made all these changes to an Ultra Nightmare version of Hydra, left the normal stuff the same, sorry. I do agree with that. But there has to be a point where you can't just score infinite like Hydra Clash points. It doesn't make sense to just give, or to just make it so easy to score infinite points. Like, if someone's hitting Nightmare, or maybe the multiplier should just change on the Hydra Clash. Like, instead of normal giving you 1 times, maybe it should give you like half times. But then that doesn't help the earlier player either. There has to be some sort of capping going on. Otherwise, it's just a bit silly. So if you're not going to implement the changes to lower level Hydras, which I get, you have to find a different way. What's this? They just made Hydra harder for everyone who isn't a whale. I think it's just the same whether you're a whale or not, but agreed. It's not looking good. Yeah, okay. So generally, very, very negative sentiment here. What's this here? PLARIUM, taunt is a cool mechanic. HH immediately. No, it's not. Yeah. So yeah, generally people are pretty upset with this one. I guess try if you were being constructive now, if PLARIUM's watching this video and you're trying to be constructive, 3 things down below that you would change to actually get that semblance of balance and a good game mode going on. Let me know down below. Anyway, I've been HYDRA, and I'll see you in the next one.